Hello everyone, you are welcome to this fourth video in the series on strings, where I plan to focus on some other methods of the string object that we have not covered so far, and they are equally very important. That's why I'm making this extra video. So we'll check how people make use of is lower, is upper, is digit, is numeric, and a number of other methods that I have listed here. When you write Python code, you'll come across them, so don't get scared of what exactly do they mean. So let's define a variable quickly and say first name, and in here I'll put Aliyah. Okay, now if you want to check the results of first name being lower, you're just asking a question, you're not sure if it is lower or not, so you want to print the result. I know by intuition that this is not lower because there is a capital A in here, but let's check. We go up here, we run our Python code, and it says the result is false because our layer is not lower. But if you want to see the version that will return the true for you, you can make a copy of that, paste it here, and change the entry to all lowercase. And when you run this now, you will see the result is true. The content of that first name is indeed lowercase, and that is pretty good for us. If we just copy this and then say is upper, this is doing the reverse of what we had in the previous case. Is this name uppercase or not? Your guess is as good as mine. It is not. It contains the first letter being upper, but the entire name itself is not upper. So if you want the upper method to return a true result for you, you make a copy of that and you make a slight adjustment to the value that you're storing in the first name variable. And when you run this code now, you will get a result that is true because all of the elements contained in first name is indeed upper. So you can validate the state of your variable this way. If you get into its digit, its numeric, its decimal, they work essentially the same way to the best of my understanding. They are trying to check if you have, in fact, what I'll do is instead of implementing them separately, I'll just implement one because of time and then give you the logic so you can practice that at your convenience. What this is saying, if I come back here and say Abdulbasit, this is the first name. Is this is digit? Is digit? Yes. What does its digit do for us? When you mouse over it, it says, I am going to give you true if the string is a digit string, meaning all of the characters in it, not some, all of the characters in it are numeric. The same thing is whether it's numeric or it's decimal. Decimal here is not talking about point something, rather it's talking about something in the base 10, which is like our normal numbers that we deal with. So if you run first name as Abdulbasit, it's not digit, so I'm going to get a false result, which is what you see here. But if you come in here, even though this is weird, but this is part of programming, I know first name is supposed to be text. If you had put 0. Let's say 6334 in there, 6334, like this, this will tell me that its digit is true because all of the characters there are now digit, not minding the fact that the variable itself in human word is supposed to be, a text-based thing. So let me just say a code, rather than calling it first name, which will be a little bit misleading. And then you should be smart enough to change this to code.isDigit. So this is going to give you a true result because it is digit. If I copy that quickly and I come into demonstrating the remaining part, which is numeric, this is going to be true because everything in there is numeric. However, if I make a slight modification to that code to look like, excuse me, I put 6334 in there. Even though it contains numeric characters, it also has characters that are non-numeric. And in this case, this is going to give you a false output. And I'm not surprised to see false here. Now we are left with just one of these three seemingly identical methods. We've seen it's digit, we've seen it's numeric, we need to see it's decimal. Pretty easy. We can copy something like, okay, I think we even have it in the memory. Just go in here, make a paste, and 6334 we need is decimal. Yes, that's the only one we've not implemented. So I'll select and say is decimal. When I implement this and I run the code, I expect to see a true result because all of the contents here are numeric in nature and they are in standard base 10. But if you come to this part and you change this to 6334, you will no longer get a true result because we've now introduced some noise elements into our data, and that's why your result is false down there. Now, if you want to check whether a character set is explicitly made up of space element, you can do the same. I can say code is space. This is going to be false because this is not space. If I run this, it tells me false. I'm expecting that. But if I, however, copy this and I paste it here and I put empty space in here and I run my code, I'll get a true result because that is actually space. It's different from when you put space, cat space. If you run this, you are going to get a false result because this is not entirely space. So you need to take note of that. So the one that will give you true, let's implement something that has true, and I can have just space. I expect this to give me a true result regardless of the number of space characters that you have in there. Then when you get to its title, this one works in a way that is similar to what we had before. So let's go to first name, concept, and then if I say Jamaldeen as the first name, and here I say is title, if I run this, I'm expecting a false result because that doesn't look like a title. If it's going to be a title, it will have the first character appearing as uppercase. So one thing I can do to implement a logic that will give us the correct result is to say Jamaldeen in capital J. When you run this, it should be true. It says false. Why? I need to check. Oh my goodness, I've seen why. Here I have first name. I'm checking its title with code. So it should be first name. And this one should be first name. So people often make this mistake and we need to be very careful. So the result should be true. That's what I had in mind and that's what I expect to have. Now, these last two elements, they will work in a pretty similar manner. And what they are saying is alnum is checking if your variable first name contains alphanumeric character. Alphanumeric characters will be mixtures of text and numbers. If that is true, then the result is going to be true. Otherwise, it's going to be false. So let's check with is alnum. You can come into this place and say Abdul Samad, and then you run this, it says true because it contains letters. If you come back and implement another version of it, make a copy, and you say Abdul Samad 007, I expect the result to still be true because it's alphanumeric. Okay, if you come in here and you say 007 as the first name, it is still true because it's still alphanumeric. Where you may run into issues will be with alpha, because alpha is checking for just alphabets alone, not alphanumeric that is checking for, you know, multiple things at the same time. So if I come straight down here and I say give me this implementation, and I'm saying is alpha, is checking if every character here is letter base, is an alphabet, and this is true, and we should get a true result. Be careful when you do this. I am saying all characters must be alphabetical, so you cannot say Abdul Samad Hamid. This is not going to be true because now you have space in between. That is a catch that you need to watch out for. You cannot come in here and say Abdul Samad 001. This is going to be false because we're talking about alphabets alone, not alnumeric, which you have up here, which allows you to have text and numbers. These are important methods of the string object that you need to be familiar with, and you will find good use for them in your journey as Python programmer. Thanks a lot for being part of this journey, and I look forward to seeing you in my very last video on string. Bye for now.